There is a version of this video that is easy to make and easy to watch and ultimately does you and your dragon no good at all. It is the version that tells you your dragon is happy when it waves, happy when it closes its eyes, happy when it sits still and lets you hold it. The version that takes every behavior the animal produces and runs it through a filter of what we want it to mean and hands you back a list of reassurances. Your dragon loves you. Your dragon is content. Everything is fine. That version of this video would be wrong in ways that matter. Because some of the behaviors most commonly listed as signs of happiness in bearded dragons are, as this channel has covered in depth, signs of stress suppression, tonic immobility, and submission. The closed eyes that feel like trust are sometimes the nervous system shutting down escape behavior in the presence of a perceived threat. The stillness that feels like contentment is sometimes an animal in a managed freeze response. The wave that feels like greeting is a submission signal directed at something the dragon has assessed as dominant. This video is different. What follows is not a list of behaviors that feel good to observe. It is a list of behaviors that the biology actually supports as indicators of an animal that is not under significant stress, that is meeting its physiological needs, that is engaging with its environment from a place of genuine equilibrium rather than managed threat response. Some of them are active and visible. Some of them are absences, the non-occurrence of stress behaviors, which turn out to be among the most reliable positive indicators available. Learning to read genuine positive state in a bearded dragon requires giving up some of the interpretations that feel the best. What you get in return is something more valuable, accurate information about what is actually happening inside the animal you have chosen to care for. Welcome to Reptile Realities. Subscribe before you keep watching, because this channel is about reading your animal past the comfortable interpretations and into what the biology is actually telling you. Stay through all 10 because the last one is the indicator most owners never think to look for, and the one that tells you more about your dragon's genuine state than almost anything else on this list. Number 1, it hunts. The hunting response is one of the most sensitive behavioral indicators of an animal's overall physiological and psychological state, and it is one of the first things to disappear when a bearded dragon is under stress, unwell, or existing in an environment that is not meeting its needs. A bearded dragon that is genuinely in a positive state hunts with a quality that is unmistakable once you have seen it. The eyes lock onto the prey item with a focus that is different from ordinary visual attention. The body lowers slightly, a stalking posture so subtle it is easy to miss, the weight shifting forward onto the front legs, the tail lifting fractionally from the surface. The movement toward the prey when it comes is deliberate and directional. The strike is clean and confident. The whole sequence has the quality of an animal that is fully present in its body and fully engaged with the task, running ancient predatory software with the fluency of a system that is working exactly as it should. This hunting quality, this full system engagement with the predatory sequence, is not present in a stressed animal. It is not present in an animal whose enclosure is not meeting its thermal needs. It is not present in an animal with a significant parasitic burden or early metabolic compromise. Those animals may still eat, may still take food items when they are placed directly in front of them, but the hunting quality is absent. The sequence is abbreviated, the engagement is partial. The animal takes the food without the full predatory investment that a genuinely thriving dragon brings to the process. Watch the hunt, not just whether food is taken, but how. The quality of the hunt tells you more about your dragon's genuine state than the quantity of food consumed. Number 2, it explores with its mouth. Bearded dragons explore their environment extensively with the tongue and the Jacobson's organ, the chemosensory system that processes chemical information from the environment the way our nose processes airborne molecules. A dragon that is licking surfaces, nosing at new objects, running its tongue along the edges of things introduced into its enclosure is a dragon that is curious and engaged and sufficiently secure in its environment to invest energy in investigation rather than defense. This exploratory licking and nosing is suppressed in animals under stress. An animal that is in a threat response state, whose nervous system is running the heightened alertness of perceived danger, does not invest energy in curious environmental investigation. It monitors, it assesses, it holds its position, or moves toward cover. The investigative behavior requires a level of relaxed attention that threat response actively inhibits. When you introduce something new into your dragon's enclosure, and the animal approaches it and begins systematically investigating it with tongue and nose, you are observing the behavioral signature of an animal that feels secure enough to be curious. Curiosity requires safety as a precondition. The investigation is the evidence of the safety. Number 3, it basks with its eyes open and its body fully extended. The quality of basking behavior is an underappreciated indicator of genuine positive state, and the specific details of how a bearded dragon basks tell you things about its overall condition that the fact of basking alone does not. A dragon basking in genuine comfort extends fully. The legs splay outward or extend to the sides, maximizing the surface area of the ventral skin exposed to the heat source. The body flattens against the basking surface. The tail lies out behind in a loose, natural curve, rather than held rigid or tucked. The head is up, but not elevated in the alert scanning posture of an animal monitoring for threats. The eyes are open and present and tracking environmental movement with the relaxed attention of an animal that is comfortable enough to be aware without being vigilant. This fully extended, eyes-open, relaxed body basking is different from the compressed, tucked, rigid basking of an animal that is seeking heat because it is cold or ill. It is different from the elevated, scanning, alert basking of an animal that is thermoregulating while simultaneously running a threat response. The full extension is the body's way of doing the job of basking as efficiently as possible from a place of comfort rather than urgency. The open eyes watching the world with relaxed interest rather than nervous vigilance are the behavioral expression of a nervous system that is not currently managing a threat. Photograph your dragon basking at the same time each day for a week. The posture you see consistently is your baseline. Departures from that posture, in the direction of more compression, more rigidity, more elevated alertness, are information. Number 4. It glass surfs less than it used to. This is the first of the absence signs, and it requires knowing your dragon's history to read correctly. Glass surfing, the behavior where a dragon presses against the front glass and moves laterally along it, scratching at the surface, is driven by a set of conditions that are all, in different ways, incompatible with genuine positive state. Reflection confusion producing a chronic threat response. An enclosure that is too small to meet the animal's spatial needs. Thermal conditions that are pushing the animal toward the glass because the temperature gradient inside the enclosure is wrong. Hunger. Reproductive hormonal drive in a female approaching laying condition. An animal that was surfing regularly and has stopped, in the context of husbandry that has remained consistent or improved, is an animal whose nervous system has resolved whatever was driving the behavior. The resolution is the positive sign. The absence of the surfing is the indicator that whatever condition was producing it has been addressed or has passed. This is why knowing your animal's behavioral history matters as much as knowing its current behavior. The dragon that never surfed and the dragon that used to surf and no longer does are showing you different things. The second one is showing you improvement, a movement toward a state that the first dragon was already in. Both are positive in their respective contexts. Neither tells you anything without the history behind it. Number 5. It responds to enrichment with genuine engagement. Enrichment in reptile keeping is more than physical complexity in the enclosure. It is anything that gives the animal's behavioral repertoire something real to work with. Novel objects to investigate. Rearrangements of the enclosure landscape that require the animal to re-navigate familiar space. Varied food presentations that engage the hunting sequence rather than presenting prey in ways that bypass it. Visual complexity outside the enclosure that gives the territorial monitoring behavior something worth monitoring. A dragon in genuine positive state responds to enrichment with the investigative, curious, engaged behavior described in Sign 2. It approaches new things. It investigates them systematically. It incorporates new structures into its behavioral routine, choosing new elevated surfaces, exploring new hides, investigating novel food presentations with the full hunting engagement of Sign 1. A dragon under chronic stress or in poor condition does not respond to enrichment this way. It may ignore new additions to the enclosure entirely. It may show defensive responses to novelty rather than curious ones, treating new objects as potential threats rather than interesting unknowns. The capacity to respond to enrichment with curiosity rather than defense is itself a measure of the animal's overall state. You have to be okay enough to be curious. The enrichment response tells you whether the animal is okay enough. Number 6, it chooses varied positions throughout the day. A healthy bearded dragon in a correctly set up enclosure moves, not constantly, not in the restless way of an animal that cannot settle, but with the purposeful positional variety of an animal that is actively thermoregulating, actively choosing its environment moment by moment, making the behavioral decisions that its biology was built to make across the thermal gradient of its enclosure. It basks in the morning. It moves to the cool end midday. It returns to an intermediate position in the afternoon. It investigates the enclosure perimeter periodically. It selects different elevated surfaces at different times. The day has a shape to it that is made of positional choices, and the variety of those choices is evidence that the animal's thermoregulatory system is working, that its energy budget is sufficient to support movement, and that its nervous system is engaged with its environment rather than locked into a fixed defensive position. An animal that spends the majority of every day in the same position, particularly if that position is a corner or the cool end of the enclosure or pressed against the glass, is an animal whose positional variety has been suppressed by something. Illness, incorrect temperatures that have eliminated the thermal gradient the animal needs to thermoregulate effectively. A social stressor that is keeping the animal fixed in one location. The variety itself is the sign of health. The fixation is the sign that something has eliminated the variety. Number 7. Its beard stays pale across a wide range of contexts. We have covered beard darkening extensively in previous videos, what causes it, what the different patterns mean, when it is normal, and when it is a symptom. What belongs here is the positive inverse of all of that. A beard that stays pale, that does not darken readily in response to your presence, to handling, to environmental changes, to the normal daily stimuli of a bearded dragon's life in captivity, is a beard whose underlying chromatophore system is not receiving frequent activation signals from a stressed autonomic nervous system. The pale beard across a wide range of contexts is not absence of response. It is the evidence of a calibrated threat assessment system that has enough accumulated experience with its environment and its keeper to process most stimuli without triggering a defensive activation. The threshold for darkening is higher because the baseline threat level is lower. The beard stays pale because the nervous system is not regularly finding things worth darkening for. This is only readable against a known individual baseline. Some dragons have naturally darker resting beard coloration than others. What you are looking for is your dragon's beard in the contexts that previously produced darkening, and the gradual shift of the threshold so that those same contexts produce less darkening than they used to. The paling of the beard over time, in response to the same stimuli, is one of the clearest behavioral indicators of a relationship and an environment that are moving in the right direction. Number 8. It sleeps at the same time in the same place every night. Sleep behavior in bearded dragons is one of the most sensitive indicators of chronic stress available, and it is one that owners almost never think to monitor because sleep seems like the absence of behavior rather than behavior itself. A bearded dragon in genuine positive state has a consistent sleep routine. It settles in the same location or rotates predictably between a small number of preferred sleep sites at approximately the same time each evening as the light decreases. The settlement is gradual and complete. The animal finds its position, adjusts minimally, and achieves the fully relaxed stillness of genuine sleep within a predictable window. The sleep posture is loose and natural. The animal does not reposition repeatedly through the night, does not press itself into corners or against glass, does not show the disrupted, incomplete sleep pattern of an animal whose nervous system is not settling fully even in darkness. Chronic stress disrupts sleep in bearded dragons the way it disrupts sleep in any animal. The nervous system that is running a threat response during the day does not switch cleanly to a resting state at night. It carries its activation into the dark hours, producing the restless, disrupted, inconsistent sleep behavior of an animal that is not genuinely safe enough to rest fully. Consistent, predictable, location-stable sleep is the behavioral evidence of a nervous system that reaches genuine rest each night. That genuine rest is both a sign of positive state and a condition for maintaining it. Number 9, it tolerates gentle handling without any predisplay signals. We covered in a previous video the pre-display signals that precede the full defensive display, the slight beard darkening, the postural stiffening, the subtle compression of the body that tells an attentive handler the threshold is approaching. These signals are present in handling sessions across a wide range of dragons and keepers. They are not emergencies, they are information. A dragon in genuine positive state, handled by the person it has individualized as described in a previous video, will move through a well-managed handling session without producing these pre-display signals at all, or will produce them only at the very end of a session that has gone on long enough to exceed the animal's comfort threshold. The absence of the pre-display signals during the body of the session is the indicator. The dragon is not suppressing them. It is not in tonic immobility. It is alert and present and tracking its environment with open eyes and engaged posture and simply not finding anything in the handling session that is triggering the threshold that would produce the signals. This is a high bar. It requires correct husbandry, adequate basking before handling, consistent and gentle technique, and the kind of accumulated positive association that takes months to build. When you get there with your animal, when you can hold it for a reasonable session and observe, throughout the session, the alert and curious and unstressed engagement of an animal that is not managing a threat response, you are observing the behavioral expression of everything the relationship between a keeper and a bearded dragon can be. Number 10, it gains weight steadily and maintains it. This is the sign that most owners never think of as a behavioral indicator, because it is not behavior in the conventional sense, but it belongs on this list because it is the physiological integration of everything the other 9 signs are pointing toward, and because it cannot be faked or misread the way behavioral signs sometimes can. A bearded dragon that is genuinely thriving eats well because it hunts well, and its digestion is working because its thermal environment is correct, and its stress levels are low enough not to suppress digestive function. It moves enough to maintain muscle mass. It sleeps well enough to recover. It does not divert excessive metabolic resources to chronic stress hormones or immune responses to conditions that correct husbandry would have prevented. The result of all of that is a body weight that is appropriate for the animal's age and size and that is stable or increasing gradually over time, not rapidly, not in a way that suggests overfeeding or obesity, but present and consistent and confirmed by the scale rather than by impression. Weigh your dragon weekly. Record the number. The trend line of that number over months is the most honest single indicator of your animal's genuine state that you have access to. Everything else on this list is behavioral and interpretable and requires the observational skill and the comparative baseline that takes time to build. The scale is objective. The number either moves in the right direction or it does not. A dragon that hunts with engagement, explores with curiosity, basks with relaxed extension, surfs the glass less than it used to, responds to enrichment with genuine interest, varies its position through the day, keeps its beard pale across a wide range of contexts, sleeps consistently in the same place, tolerates handling without pre-display signals, and maintains appropriate weight across time, is a dragon that is, in the only sense the biology supports, genuinely happy. Not happy the way a dog is happy, not happy the way the word feels when you apply it to an animal whose face you can read and whose emotional state resembles your own. Happy in the specific, biological, behavioral sense of an animal whose needs are being met, whose nervous system is not running a chronic threat response, whose physiological systems are working as they were built to work, and whose engagement with its environment has the quality of a creature that is, in the fullest sense, available to it, okay? That is what you are working toward every time you get the husbandry right. Every time you build the relationship one careful interaction at a time. Every time you learn to read the animal more accurately than you did the week before. Now you know what it looks like when you get there. Tell me in the comments which of these 10 signs you see in your dragon right now, and which ones you are still working toward. Tell me where you are in the process. I read every single one. See you in the next video.